Well, folks, there's one thing we can always count on these days, and that's that anytime Jasmine Crockett steps up to a microphone, she's going to knock it out of the park. And every time that I've ever done a video on Jasmine, I've always started off by saying this is the very kind of energy and this is the very kind of fire that our side so desperately needs right now. And these days, I've been going to more and more protests. I've been going out and meeting people and shaking their hands and getting to know them. And anytime that we have a conversation about what the Democrats need to be doing or what our side needs to be doing, Jasmine Crockett's name is always one that comes up first. Usually that's the first name out of everyone's mouth is, oh, well, Jasmine Crockett was saying this, and I totally agree with her, and that's what we need more of. And so I'm going to continue to do more videos on her in the future. I know I will be, because every day she's going to knock it out of the park. And I think we should all rally around that type of energy and continue to push it forward. So recently, Jasmine just comes right at the Republicans and asks them, you know, have you saw any immigrant out there that is running around with 34 felony counts? Are any of them out there running around with that? She just brings this to the Republicans, and it's so great to watch. Take a look.
Many of you prepared for today's hearing by making sure that you got a little bit of information about immigrants and crime in your cities. Let me ask each of the mayors, just yes or no, have any of you been made aware of any immigrant that has had 34 felony convictions that has still been able to roam around in your cities? Anyone?
No, ma'am.
34 felony convictions.
No, Congresswoman.
From the immigrants. Anybody?
I'm not aware.
Oh, okay, okay. I'm just curious because we are so concerned about crime, and I know that my Republican colleagues would never want anybody with 34 felony convictions roaming around because that could be a danger to the community, but I will move on.
So I've made several videos over the last couple of days talking about the J6 insurrectionists and how they all got their pardons from Trump, and then they went out there and broke the law, and one of them even ended up losing his life in a standoff with the police. And so we've talked about them and how they've got away with their crimes, but the one thing that we always need to remember is that Donald Trump is a convicted criminal himself. And so when they stand up and say they're the rule of law party, the problem with that is they have a 34-time convicted felon, a man who was found liable of sexual abuse and defamed the victim later, a man who tried to overturn an election that he knew he lost. They have that guy as their front man. And so they really don't have any room to call themselves the rule of law party. And they don't have any room to call themselves patriotic and say they love America when they're always palling up to Putin. And in this next clip, Crockett gets asked about that. And again, she doesn't hold anything back. Take a look.
If you could tell Donald Trump anything tonight, what would you tell him?
I would tell him to grow a spine and stop being Putin's hoe, because that's all we got right now is Putin's little hoe that is out here really doing the bidding of Russia in a way we've never seen an American president do. And for those that believe that we should only focus on the United States, this is a focus on the United States. We need a president that understands what diplomacy looks like, and it doesn't look like the disgrace that we saw that took place in the Oval Office. It also doesn't look like shitting on our allies by telling them we're going to impose tariffs to the north and the south of us, meaning that our housing costs are going to go through the roof because we get so much of our lumber and steel out of Canada, and Canada is responding in kind, and honestly, I can't blame them. Same thing with Mexico. We're talking about our fruits and veggies. As people are still complaining about their eggs, now they're going to have to worry about the rest of their groceries. Listen, it is time for him to grow a pair and start to do the work of an American president and stop pretending that he is on some terrible reality TV show that is looking for ratings, because I am hoping that America turns off the TV today and tunes in to people like you, because all he does is look for ratings, and we shouldn't give him the attention.
As always, she's absolutely spot on, and we don't need to give him the attention, and we don't need to give him the ratings, because that's what truly hurts him the most. And that's why that I refuse to watch any of these speeches that he gives, and whenever he calls together a meeting, he's going to give a speech. I'm not going to tune in and listen to that because I'm not going to give it a rating. Yeah, of course, I'm going to listen to what he had to say later on. We'll see what was said. But in that moment, I don't want to give him the ratings because that's all the guy's about. And his ego is so huge, or huge, as he would say, that if you don't tune in and he sees those ratings dropping, that's going to hurt him more than anything else. But she's right. He is someone who has cozied up to Putin. As a matter of fact, the whole Republican Party has. And it's the first time in my life that I've ever seen America in a position where we were on opposite sides of a war, and one was pulling for one country and one was pulling for the other. I do remember during the George W. Bush years, I remember that I was saying we shouldn't have went to Iraq. And there were a whole lot of people that thought that we should have. And we disagreed on that one, and we disagreed on that one very strongly. But you didn't have Republicans or Democrats pulling for Saddam Hussein. You didn't have them calling the hijackers on 9/11 hostages and patriots. It's just you didn't have all this bizarre stuff that you have now coming from Donald Trump. And so we need people like Jasmine Crockett who's willing to speak up and speak out and speak unfiltered. Because here's the thing about it, folks. Whether you love Donald Trump or you hate Donald Trump, he speaks in a way as though he don't give a shit. And that appeals to people. I mean, as bad as I hate to say it, it does appeal to people. That type of rhetoric will come off like you're telling the truth, even if you're bullshitting. Because if you're just fearless in what you say and you just come right at people with it, with all the confidence in the world, there are people out there that will latch on to what it is you're saying. But we can stand up and we can come with the enthusiasm and we can come with the truth and we can come with the evidence. And we can back up what we say, and we can talk about the real important issues at hand that everyday people are facing right now. And so when I hear Jasmine Crockett talking, I don't hear a politician talking. I hear the same conversations that I have with people every time I go to a protest and we stand around and talk about what's going on in this country. I hear Jasmine Crockett's voice coming back at me. I hear those concerns. I hear people saying those things. So I really feel, again, like more people needs to get behind this type of person, because that's the type of person that is speaking to what all of us are saying. And notice what she said, turn off the TV and tune into independent media and put your focus there. We stand for freedom. We stand for democracy. We stand for marginalized groups being lifted up. We stand for women's rights. We believe that they should have control over their own bodies. And so that's what we stand for, and we need to continue to bring it every single day and never back down off of it. Because if we will come out there and we will say it with confidence, people will start to latch onto it. I hate to say this, but it truly is these boring, old white Democrats that's been in there since I was 2 years old that are still standing up there repeating the same talking points over and over and over. It's not going to resonate. It's not going to connect. It's going to take people like Jasmine Crockett to do that. And she's doing that by telling the truth. Hey, y'all want to talk about convicted felons? Y'all want to talk about criminals running around? The leader of your party, the President of the United States, is now one of those. You want to talk about somebody palling up to Putin? That's exactly what you're doing. So we need people that will bring that type of energy, and we don't need to be afraid to bring that type of energy. So, folks, I truly do appreciate you tuning in here on the channel. I hope everyone is having a great day. And if you haven't already, be sure and hit the subscribe button. It doesn't cost anything to do so. Hit the like button. That'll help us out a whole lot. And like I always say, get in on these crazy conversations if you feel like it. But if you don't, I completely understand. So if you just leave a blue heart, that would help to boost these videos in the algorithm. But we will continue to stand up with people like Jasmine Crockett, because she truly is on America's side.